From coast to coast, I'm your host, Palma N'Sheluvzit, and welcome to Oriac Live. Today's guest is the owner of Ricci Hair Co., an 8-time Canadian Hairdresser of the Year, which I was there to witness him win the 2023 Contessa Awards for Elite Master Hairstylist and Canadian Hairstylist of the Year. Let's welcome Mr. Tony Ricci. Welcome, Tony. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. How are you?
Oh, I'm great. Thank you for having me.
This is awesome. I am so excited to tell everyone about that awesome night at the Contessa's just a few weeks ago when I got to witness you win 2 awards and Elite Master. We have to now call you Elite Master, Tony Ricci.
There you go. There you go. And we were sitting right next to each other having a chat.
Yes.
That night. It was
Honestly,
so good.
It was the first time I actually got to sit down and chat with you. For years, I have looked up to you, admired you, and I have to tell our Oriac audience how humble you are. You know, we say Tony Ricci takes it home again. Tony Ricci wins another award, but there's a reason for it. And honestly, I was so honored to sit next to you and get just a little glimpse and insight to your life and how passionate you truly are about our industry and what you get to do for a living every day, hair. Tony, tell me a little bit about the Contessa Awards itself. How did it feel for you to be there that night, live in person after 2 years?
Well, I got to tell you, this was probably not the best win because they were all good, but there was something special about this one. There was a lot of things that happened. First of all, I hadn't been there in the last maybe 4 or 5 years. The last 2 awards that I won, I wasn't even there. I was doing a show in Vegas one year and I was doing a show in Toronto another year. So I wasn't able to. So this was special, but I do want to spend a little bit of time to say how this all came to be. And it started with Dino coming. He came over and asked me to sit down and have a chat with him about being creative and doing photo shoots and all that. And we decided to get together and do this collection. It was the first collection that I did with Dino, and then Marlo joined in. But it was sort of really a special night or a special shoot because it all started being at home. We couldn't go anywhere, so we had these masks on and we didn't have big photographers. So I did the photos and Marlo was there and we did wigs. We made everything happen. And it was 2 weekends that we spent doing this shoot. So it was a special night. I didn't think that I was going to win because everything was done in Edmonton. So when we did win the first one, of course, Master Stylist, then I was really shocked because I was just going to start drinking because I didn't think I was going to win hairdressers. So Marlo came and got me, and then the name came and we just ran up on stage. It was so surreal. So it was a very special night, and it was so good to be there.
And the winner is Tony Ricci.
Wow, thank you guys. It's been a couple years, it'll be like 4 or 5 years since I've been here. I think I won.
Well, Tony, it was, you can see the excitement from you that night, the tears. I don't think other people saw that, but I did get to catch a photo of you and I together at the end of you sort of crying. And I was like, my God, like to feel that energy come off of you. And like I said, you've won so many other awards. That night just hit different. I think it hit different because you felt the energy from the crowd. You felt the passion from everyone. And for you, as you mentioned, you took your photos for the first time.
Yeah, it was a special night. It was a special night. But I do believe, and it's kind of sad that as a finalist, there's not many more winners because everybody puts a lot of work into it. And some people just don't understand the passion and the work that you put behind your photos. And you send them out there to be judged. And it's really hard to be judged on your work because I think everybody that was a finalist there could have won. And I think it's just the emotion that you get because you do put your heart and soul behind your collections.
Absolutely. And speaking of the heart and soul, I believe the heart and soul comes from our teams that we choose to have behind us. As you mentioned, Dino approached you about doing the photo shoot and you had Marlo there with you, Marlo Stedman, that we've previously interviewed, and she's amazing. And I had such an absolute honor sitting with you both that night. Tell me more about the 2 weekends that you guys worked on this amazing photo shoot together. Did you find that, from one weekend to the other, you were changing your minds or running into issues, especially that you also had to take the photographs yourself?
Yeah, well, I mean, first I got to say how important it is to have a team. I think it's so important to have people on your side like Dino and Oriac, supporting us. And I also think it's so important to have the right team, which Marlo is. We're almost one when we go to a photo shoot. There's things that she sees that I don't see. There's things that I see that she doesn't see. But together we create this magic that makes an image come to life. And it's so important. And I always say this, and I've done a lot of photo shoots. But I always say that when you enter the room, everybody has to check their ego at the door. Everybody has to come into that room with one vision. And that vision is to create an unbelievable collection or an unbelievable image. And when everybody puts their energy to create that image will become great. You cannot have a great image if you have one person wanting an image to be for them and another person wanting the image to be theirs and another person wanting their. It doesn't work that way. That we all have to have that vision of that collection or those images to be the best. And when all that energy goes and it comes directly into that vision, it becomes great.
Tony, let's get intimate and interactive, because as you just finished speaking about your team, I know there's going to be moments where you're either going to butt heads or something didn't go right. Come on, tell us the truth. You can't
Absolutely.
just get the perfect
Absolutely.
shot.
Absolutely.
No, there has to have been something. I want to know the nitty-gritty.
Absolutely. You have to butt heads, because not that you have to butt heads, but everybody has to have that vision. At the end, there's always going to be the one person who's going to make the final decision. But every time someone says something, it's not actually butting heads, because if you listen and you open up your mind and you open up, you'll see that a different angle of what that person's telling you. And sometimes it is what you need to hear. Sometimes I've had photographers tell me that it looks like shit. And sometimes it does. And sometimes you got to just go with it and push yourself and get to that next level and make it better. It's not really butting heads, but it's actually listening. Because if the person, like if Marlo says something to me and she's Hawkeyes, she's got these eyes that catches everything. So we call her Hawkeyes. Every time it's like Hawkeye sees something, right? Because when I'm doing something, I'm all over. So I got a bigger picture, and sometimes I don't zone in into the little things. And Marlo does a great thing of zoning into the little stuff, and she makes those little things become great. And so when she says something, she's not saying it to butt heads. She's saying it because she really believes that, and she wants me to create that image for the both of us. And we're so proud of all our images that we've done together. And I think we've done some amazing work together. And I can't wait to continue growing. But it's not really butting heads. It's just really just focusing and becoming great together. I think 2, 3, 4 people together can create better things than just one person by themselves.
Absolutely, Tony. I love how you said you check your ego at the door. There's no I in team. And in order for something so beautiful to come together, you have to leave the ego, because the ego only can distract what can really be so beautiful and a winning collection. So congratulations, not only to you, but to the team that stands next to you. And I'm so excited for what maybe 2024 may bring for the years to come. And I remember that night I asked you, are you ever going to stop? And what did you tell me that night?
Well, I can't remember what I said, because I said a lot of things, but I definitely don't want to stop. We've created a great collection that we just did. It was shot in a bar. So we took something and we left the studio and we actually went on a live location, which I haven't really seen done for the awards. So I'm really excited to actually share that with you next year. But I truly believe that I'm at the right place at the right time right now. I don't think if COVID didn't happen, I mean, Marlo and I known each other for a long time, but we always talked about working together, but we never got the chance to do it. So when we came to shoot this collection, we're actually one. Just because we haven't worked each other for so long, but it feels like I've worked with her for the last 20 years. Every time we talk, every time we're in sync of going in the same place. And I can't tell you how important that is. And I'm so happy to be part of, Dino and Dave, because I really believe that they want to take this company and to a different level, and I want to help them get there. And I think that when you do that, all together, we're gonna reach that goal.
Well, Tony, I'm here to come along on that ride with you all at Oriac. I want to remind our audience to catch more of an insight of Tony and Marlo. Visit us at Oriac.ca/live. And we're also on a podcast. So I'd love for all of you to hear their episode. It's so insightful, and they speak a lot about holiday looks as well. As you just mentioned, you shot another photo shoot at a bar, which how come I wasn't invited to?
I didn't know you then, but now you're invited, because it would have been great to have you there. But do we have time to? I just want to say one thing, because I forgot to say how when we did shoot this, the camera broke, so we had a broken camera. We got the lights at a pawn shop, right? And we had this cord that was plugged into the TV that we couldn't get the image because we don't have enough money to buy cordless stuff or Wi-Fi stuff. So we had this long cord going to a TV, and Dino was there, and he was trying to make the image come onto the screen so we could actually do this. So I just want to say that even with the best equipment in the world, it doesn't mean you're going to win. What matters the most is the passion that you have to get there. And that's what I want to say to people, because sometimes I've had people say, oh, those scissors are not good, or this is not good. But a poor workman blames his tools. Again, if you have the passion, if you want something bad enough, you'll achieve it. It doesn't matter if you have a broken camera or lights from a pawn shop. You can still do it.
I love that, Tony. This is exactly what I was hoping to hear from you today. Is, we look at you as the Tony Ricci, the 8-time award-winning, the 2023 Elite Master Hairstylist. We want to know.
Can I correct you though? It's 9.
It's 9. We're at, yes, that's right, because the 2023, the 9. We have to add that. That's absolutely right. But you need to then correct your Instagram bio.
I gotta also tell you that it wasn't always like this for me. Like, there was a time when I would go to the awards and Anna Pacito was winning everything right from Pure was winning all the time. And I was always getting the finalist, right? Never winning. And I called her and I said, what does it take? And she said, do you want to learn? Do you want to know the secret? And I said, yes. So I flew to Montreal, and she trained me. This is so important, because a lot of people think that you can just do everything by yourself just because. And you could be a great hairdresser, and there's a lot of great hairdressers, but there's so much to learn out there, little things that you don't see, especially when you're shooting, that you need a coach. Even McDavid has a coach. As good as Connor McDavid is, there's still somebody coaching him, telling him how to get better, how to take that next step, that he missed that corner shot or whatever it takes. So you need to have your mind that's open and willing to ask somebody like myself or Marlo or Anna or whoever your person that you want to be there to help guide you, to help you get to that next level. When you have somebody and you turn around and they got their hand and they're willing to help you get to that next level, that's the person you want to be with. When you're in a room and someone's stepping on your head, but they're giving you their hand, it's not the place you want to be. Right. And if you're the smartest person in the room, you need to find a different room.
I'm going to leave that right there, Tony, because you said it so perfectly. And that's what you're getting at when you say, leave your ego at the door.
Absolutely.
You want something to not only win, but also to wow yourself, to level up yourself. You didn't walk into a photo shoot that day with top photographer, the best lighting, the best camera equipment. You walked in the room with a team that had like-minded ideas as yourself and wanted to make something incredible. Your passion shows all in your photos. And you sharing just a little bit of what you experienced in your last photo shoots, to be 9-time Canadian Hairstylist of the Year, to be titled an Elite Master Hairstylist, those titles are given because of all of that, because of the mistakes you've gone through, the ups and downs with your team. And I want the audience to hear that, because there's so many people that question, why am I always just making it to the semifinals? Or why am I always just making it to the finals? Because there's still more for you to learn.
There is,
and
but I
even
gotta say,
you're still learning, correct?
Yeah, but I gotta say, it just didn't happen by chance. I've shot in Australia, I've shot in London, I've shot in Montreal, I've shot in Toronto. I've always went every 2 years. I would switch teams because I always wanted to learn from somebody else. So all those little things over the years that I got from all those photographers and all those different teams that I worked with, and it's really hard to get a new team and put yourself out there. That's what gave me all the knowledge that happened that night or in this last collection, because all the little things that I went out and got that were in my head, and all the people that I worked with, and I took little bits and pieces from all those people over the years, came through on that photo shoot. So it's just not by chance. You got to go out there and you got to work and you got to put yourself out there and you got to fail. You got to
Right.
make mistakes. The only time you're ever going to learn is when you make mistakes, and you got to find somebody who's right beside you that's willing to help you get there. Like I said, the person, when you turn around and they're got their hand out and they want to help you get to that next level, then you're in the right place and you'll get to that next level.
Tony, I love that. I'd love to talk a little bit about your experience with Robert Lavetta. You mentioned a little bit to me not long ago, and I am a huge fan as I'm an avant-garde hairstylist myself. You got to work with him and produce some incredible photographs of your hair art. Tell me a little bit about that experience.
I want to say that because this is a really good story, and this is the passion that I have. He is such an icon, and I remember I met him one time, and he gave me his comb, and I kept that comb for years. It was missing teeth, and I would take it to every photo shoot, but I still needed that comb because I thought that there was something special that was with that comb. But I called him for 2 years, and I asked him to do a photo shoot. And 2 years, I was constantly asking him, and he's like, "Tony, I don't do photo shoots. Tony, I don't do photo shoots for other." And then finally, I bugged him so much that he actually said, "Just come to LA," because I think he was just tired of listening to me. So I actually flew to LA, and I call him the Wizard because he's got that little beard. So I think I got a little bit. I'm the little wizard. He's the actual wizard. And I got to shoot with him. I shot with him for 2 days. But I'm telling you, when you put yourself out there and you commit yourself to, if somebody wants me to shoot or shoot with me, the passion, that drive, everything that comes together, that comes that day. When I shot with Robert, it was so amazing. I can't tell you. I was in tears, and then it was a 2-day shoot, and we didn't win anything with those images, but it's not about winning all the time. Sometimes you just got to do it because you believe in it. The collection was really quite avant-garde, so we stretched the limits a little bit. But if you just do it to win, I don't think you're ever going to win. You have to do it because of your passion and what you believe in. And when you create an image, and that's the thing about photo shoots that I really want to say. When you're behind the chair, you're a craftsman. People pay you to create for them. But when you're an artist, you create for yourself. And it's so hard because you get judged for the work that you do, but you still have to believe in yourself, and you have to create that image for yourself. Whether it wins or loses, that's not the point. Because if you actually do it for yourself and you actually put that time and effort into and the drive, you'll actually end up winning. But you can't do it just for the win.
Absolutely, Tony.
Does that make
Thank
sense?
you so much. Absolutely, it does. What we do behind the chair, what we do behind the camera is our business card. I'd love to hear a little bit of what you think the transition from our word of mouth of clients walking out the door to now having the ability to share our hair art on social media. How do you feel about the transition and what social media has done for you?
I'm not a social media person. I have an Instagram, so I'm not great at it. I come from the era where we actually did really good hair, and then that client went out, and that's how that was your business card. So we really pushed a little bit harder. Now you have social media, which is the same in a way, right? But you can edit and you can do all these things to it. But it's a way to tell people what you do, right? So if you're great at wedding hair, then you become, and you put all these wedding updos and you put it on Instagram and you put it on your social, and those are the kind of people that are going to come and see you. So I think that people are going to shop differently for hairdressers than they ever have. And they're going to go on people's Instagrams and they're going to find things that they like about the hairdresser. And that's the salon they're going to go to. So it's really important to do that. But you can't, miss out on doing great hair behind the chair too, because you have to make sure that your clients are talking about you at the same time, because not everybody goes on social media. And sometimes you just need someone to tell a friend at a party and say, you got to go see Tony. He's really good. Or you got to go see Marlo. She does great hair, because it's almost, how would you say it? The feeling you get when you go to the salon is, the work is there and it's important, but how you feel and how you make a person feel, is important too, because sometimes it could just be a trim. But the way you do that trim and how you make that person feel after she leaves the trim is what's important. So, we're servants. We're there to serve. Like I said, we're actually craftsmen. People pay us, but people pay us not just to do their hair, but also to listen and to make them feel good. And it's so important because honestly, I've had clients that have come this last week and they see the trophy. And I had this one lady actually tear up and she goes, can I take a picture of those? And she wanted to tell her friends. My clients ask me, they're like, oh, what's your next shoot? And let me see this. And they become part of it. It's this thing that goes on. And you really, being a hairdresser is so amazing. And I mean, doing photos is great, but me behind the chair is probably my best part of my life. I love being behind the chair. I love my staff and I love my clients. This other stuff is just something that you add to it, which makes it even better. But I honestly, behind the chair is where I'm the most happiest.
Tony, you exude passion. I'm tearing up and getting emotional hearing you because I feel the exact same way. I always say when we go to a restaurant, the food tastes only as good as your company. And it is the exact same way I want my clients to feel when they're here as a guest in my salon, right? The experience you have is not only a great haircut, but the friendships we've made throughout the years.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right?
And it's so important. I used to work with some hairdressers who say, well, I'll tell my clients what they need. And it's such an ego thing to do because it's not about you. It's about them. It's about them and what you can do for them and what they need and how good you can service them. And, when you become a servant like that, you'll charge astronomical amount of money behind the chair, and you'll also be very successful. And like you said, we are both Italian, and this is how we do things. We just have people over, and we eat and drink and talk, and the passion comes out. You know.
Well, tell me about it, Tony, because look at me. I'm ready for the holidays.
I love the Italian elf.
Let the show end without a little Christmas holiday tip coming from Mr. Tony Ricci. Is there any holiday hairstyles you would recommend for the audience? Long hair, medium length hair, hairstyles for New Year's?
I think that any hair that makes you feel good, anything that looks great, shiny, up, down, as long as you feel good. And when you're putting that on, it's like wearing a Prada jacket or a pair of Gucci loafers. That's what's important. And you want to feel good about yourself. I don't think that anybody should wear something that's not them. That's the hardest part about picking the right style, because some people will say, oh, what's good for me? But let's talk about you. How do you feel? How do you feel behind that? And that's what's important. When you walk into a room, if your hair looks good and you feel good, that's what's important. Up, down, as long as it's shiny and healthy, like Marlo would say, that's what you need.
And even maybe with a little Christmas hat, anything goes.
Yeah. Gotta love that Christmas hat.
Right?
I need one so it looks like I have hair underneath the hat. I can just put like bangs and then the Christmas hat.
I'll send it in the mail. It's on its way on Santa's sleigh. Thank you, Tony.
But
Yeah.
before you go, you have to remember that now, because we won, we can't change everything, because I'm superstitious. So we have to be at the Contessa's next year if we make finals, and we have to sit next to each other. And Marlo has to be next to me there, because nothing can change. You got to wear the same shoes.
Perfect. I'll wear the same hair dress so I have something to flip when Tony Ricci wins again. It is
so if we make finals, and Dave has to be there, Dino has to be there. We all have to be there at the same table.
The whole Oriac team has to be there. And from our Oriac family, I would love to wish you all a very happy holiday season and a happy new year. Thank you, Tony Ricci, for this wonderful episode on Oriac Live. We'll see you all in 2023. Ciao.